Welcome back to the channel, fam. Welcome back to the channel. This is Brian, the introverted marketer, and it ain't hard to tell. It's simple. Now listen, fam. We tapping in with SheetWiz. Shout out Sean Altman. Build flows, dream big. Now it's on a lifetime deal, so let's talk about it. Test compare chain for testing models, easy to use AI tools. Now they did a huge update today. That's why I'm dropping this video. I meant to do this video about 3-4 days ago, but I'm in a Facebook group and they dropped a huge update. So I want to go ahead and cover some of these tools right here. So of course, image and video chain prompts, and we're gonna get into that. Here's the man himself right here, Sean Altman. Shout out Sean Altman. He's put together a few tools that I'm gonna cover down on, including Vibe Sheet and Sheet. Originally found out about Sean on AppSumo, and I've been rocking with him ever since through all his product launches. So essentially, SheetWiz and all of Sean's products is all Google Sheets based. Once you buy it, you own the code, so it's really no refunds. But in my opinion, it doesn't matter because you own the code. Like as long as Google Sheets exists, you own that code. You can modify it. You can use it however you wish. And with a lot of people, a lot of corporations changing their terms and conditions, with licenses, or they can revoke access. Just having the ability to own something, even though technically it's through Google Sheets. So there's that caveat. It's a beautiful thing. So you can use it for a bunch of things: SEO, social posts, strategy analysis, because you're gonna get tapped in with all your different APIs, and I'm gonna show you. And this is the feature we want to test out. I did Nano Banana Pro prompt builder. I did like 4 videos on that tool because I was excited about it. So image chaining rather, starting with one image and then chaining a whole bunch of images. But instead of doing that in a tool or on a cloud website, you can do it right there in Google Sheets, and I'm gonna show you that. And of course, video chaining. We want to test that out. That's something I've been excited to do. So you have AI check, AI chat, and scraping. So it's a whole bunch of tools here, and there's a whole bunch of special functions that you can use. Once again, truly unlimited for life. Use your own API keys and run unlimited prompts, scraping, and automations inside Google Sheets. So I'm tapped in. And of course, they got core functions, things that you could do. It does so many things, family. It's amazing. But the things I want to cover is the image chaining and the video chaining. Of course, they added today music prompting. So yes, if you have key.ai, you can use that API key and you can actually prompt music inside of SheetWiz. So I'm excited to show you that. And it's also, I believe, a special discount code that I also want to show you. Let's go over here to buy now so we can see the pricing options before we even get into it. So you can see right now it's $89. But stand by, family. So you see right here, family, this code star 80 at the time of this recording, and we're doing this February 2nd, 2026, star 80 to get you 80% off. Now, normally the lifetime deal goes for $89, but right now you can get tapped in for $17.80 with the code star 80. So if you're interested in this product after you see me demo this tool, definitely tap in. There'll be a link in the description and pinned comment below so you can check it out. Star 80. But they do have a couple models here. Right? They have yearly access, and of course they have the lifetime access. And both of them have ongoing updates. But the yearly access right now is $37, and the lifetime deal is $89. I'm not sure how long the actual code is going to last for. Sean's put a lot of work into this. So definitely, if you're interested in this tool and trying to get in at a low price for a lifetime deal and get in with a great community, with a founder that's very responsive, definitely recommend you tap in. And here's what you get access to with the lifetime and the yearly. Everything right here. I don't believe we went over the FAQs, but here's the FAQs. It basically shows the different functions that you can use here. You can visit different URLs, query, get meta titles, meta descriptions. You can get the H1s, the H2s, the headings. And once again, is SheetWiz really lifetime? So since you're using Google's own Sheets, Google Sheets to create the code, like he says, if anything happens to SheetWiz as a business, you still keep your Google Sheets with the attached code. So it's truly a lifetime deal. It's truly unlimited, right? So it's a trust project. So, and that's the one thing I respect about Sean. Like he's trusting you because when you see how I do it is that you essentially get access to the Google Sheet, you copy it, and you paste it into your account, and then you can edit and you can modify it. So it's really a trust project and product. So he really puts a lot out there, puts a lot of work, puts a lot of effort into it. That's why I'm rocking with Sean. That's why I'm promoting this. And of course, Sean offers training. You don't need to know any coding at all. But you can see right here, I'm in the back. I'm already logged in. You can see it comes with a ton of videos, everything from explaining API, the different battle modes, prompt testers, prompt chaining, prompt debugger, prompt optimizer, best model finder, image tester, image chaining, video testing, video chaining, AI whiz functions, chat functionality, and the different use cases. I might end up doing a series on this because there's just so many different things. But you can see I'm already in here, right? And the first thing you do, I wonder if he pushed it out in the global release. Let's go ahead and check that out. So yeah, he did push it out in the global release. Key Suno on 11 Labs. So with new image and video models, you get to use Suno and 11 Labs via key.ai. If you're interested in the website, definitely put a link in the description below so you can check it out. 11 Labs voice and Suno via key. So that was the huge update that Sean pushed out. And if we go into the global settings, let's just go ahead and take a look at all the options you have here for APIs. And you know me, I'm tapped in with every one of them. That's why everyone here is green. We'll just give it a little bit of sec while SheetWiz is thinking. And once it's done thinking, I'm gonna show you everything here. While it's thinking, you can see the API key options that you have to set is OpenAI, Claude, OpenRouter, Gemini, Straiko, Runway, and Key. I have them all there, right? Now, in order to set the active wizard AI, you pick the one you want to use. You have different options. Right now, it's just defaulted to OpenAI. And if you want to know the different models, you would just hit this button. It would tap your whichever API key you see for OpenAI. It pretty much gives us access to whatever your account allows with OpenAI. And you can pretty much select the model. I think for a tool like this, it's best to go with Mini. Not really doing any coding or anything like that. We can go with Mini. You can see we got access to GPT-1, GPT Image 1 Mini. I didn't even know that was a thing. But I'm just looking for 5 Mini. And that's fine. Could use 5 Mini to navigate it. But also, I just want to show you, like, yes, you can use any one of these. Now, SheetWiz does take a little time to think and set things up. You can dismiss that. We'll admit that. But That's a small price to pay for what it's gonna do. You can see right here it says AI system set to OpenAI GPT-5 Mini. Of course, we're using Atlas, so we got the alert from Atlas as well. But you can see here, right? We have access to different models, and I'll just post the video and let them individually load. Oh, okay, so we got that. That didn't take too long. Tapping in with Claude. We'll hit Gemini, see what we have there. Strico and open router, and then tap back in once it's done. All right, so we can see here with Claude, we got all these models here, and Claude 5 Sonic coming out next week, so that should be interesting. And with Gemini, you can see we got everything here. With Strico, of course, shout out Strico. They don't have everything. They don't always have the latest and the greatest, but they do have enough for a workflow. So always shout out Strico. And of course, Open Router just has everything. And what I appreciate about SheetWiz is that you can also create the model sheet. So if we go over to the Strico models, we can see how much the estimated cost is. And if you're cost conscious when you're using tools, it's going to tap your API and you don't want to constantly go back to the website. You can see here with Strico, you have all the coins right here. We just click that to create this, and we click that to create open routers, and you can see we have all the models here, and we have the estimated cost per words. Same thing with open router, except this is in actual dollars. All the different models and the price. So that's that particular function. But now that we're all set up and we decided that we're going to go GPT-5 Mini, let's go ahead and check out some of the functions here. Now, I do want to actually get into the image tools and the video tools. I may double back to do the prompt chaining, but for this video, I really want to cover the image tools, the video tools, and the music and voice. So let's go ahead and go with the image tester, and then we'll check out the image chaining. We'll let it go ahead and do its thing. Okay, so you can see right here, the first thing you actually want to do is you want to make sure you populate the providers, because there's a couple providers that you can actually use here. And I believe Strico is one of them and Runware is one of them. You can see right here. So we can actually use all three providers, Runware, Strico, and Key. And I believe Key actually has access to Nano Banana. So that's actually pretty awesome, and their pricing is pretty fair. And of course, you can hit the load models. And then you can run image, we'll do some image tests. And of course, since this is a Google-based product with the SheetWiz, they do allow you to export your images, your tests, to your Google Drive. And in my opinion, if there's one thing to pay for in terms of an LLM, I wouldn't go with ChatGPT. If I had $20, I wouldn't go with Claude. I wouldn't go with Grok. I think Grok is $30. Or DeepSeek. I would go with Gemini, because Gemini gives you access to the drive, and also you get access to the actual LLM itself, which comes with Nano Banana, and you get limited usage of VO3. So definitely Gemini is the go-to, in my opinion, if I only had $20 to spend. Now you can see here, when you run your selected provider plus model per test, and it writes the URLs back to the sheet. So we did load the models. We can run a few different tests right here. And of course, we can choose what we want. So we have square, wide, and tall. So pretty much like your Facebook, your YouTube, and your Instagram and your TikToks. So why not we just go with, let's go with tall. And of course, the more steps, the more it's going to hit your API. So we'll go with balance. And we'll go with medium. And we can actually choose any one of these, right? For test 2, we can go with Strico. And for test 3, we can go with key. Now, I did put the load models. So populate providers, choose providers. We've already done that. Load models, choose models. It says in row 3. So this is row 3, but I do not see the providers. So just give me 1 second, family, because we definitely need those providers so we can see what we're working with. Okay, family. So one thing you got to do is make sure you follow instructions, right? Choose providers. We chose the providers. We populated the providers. Load models. So make sure that you choose your providers first, and then you hit load models. Now for Runway, we have a ton of options here. We even have Midjourney. Wow. I've personally never used Midjourney, but now I have an option. I have an opportunity to use that using Runway. We have Midjourney. We have Kling Image. They have Dolly. Of course, they have Audiogram, including Audiogram 3. They have the different Flux models. They have their own Juggernaut models. And they also have Nano Banana here as well. With Strico, you have a little bit of limitations. They do have Nano Banana version 1, and they do have GPT version 1, and they do have Audiogram 3. So it's always good to have Nano Banana as an option and GPT Image 1 as an option. They're a little bit older, but definitely still functional and definitely high quality. Same thing with Recraft and same thing with Audiogram. And with Key, which is the interesting one to me, they also have Nano Banana Pro, but they also have Dream version 5, 4.5 rather, which is also a very interesting model. And they also have Grok Imagine, which I've been hearing great things about, even though I haven't used it. So we can put Dream version 4.5. And what can we go with here for our image testing? Because here with the image testing, much like with the other tools, you can just pretty much test out different image models. We have, see this, I want to put Midjourney, but I know Midjourney, you got to prompt it a different kind of way. So I wonder if it's even fair to put Midjourney in here, knowing that you need to prompt Midjourney a certain kind of way. But let's say we did want to try Midjourney, and let's say we did want to go with tall. We'll keep everything. Actually, we'll go with high detail, and we'll go with very strong. And of course, we got to come up with a prompt. So give me 1 second. All right, family. So we got a simple prompt here. But we can't leave it simple like that. We got to pull up Pismo. We also got word Dara. And we'll use the Nano Banana Pro prompt. Let's just see how that carries across. And we'll take the prompt that we create with Pismo. It's tapping in with my Striker API using Claude Sonnet. And here is the prompt right here. We'll copy that. We'll paste that here. And is definitely a little bit long in the tooth with the prompting. We're going to go ahead and start those tests and let it do what it need to do. If we have image URLs, we actually need to be able to see them. But we'll go ahead and let it run, and we'll tap back in when it's finished, fam. Simple. Okay, family. So we Striker did provide an error, so it was the only one that actually didn't manage to make it out, at least for Nano Banana. But we did get an image from Runway with Midjourney, and this is how that came out. And we did get an image from Key, but it just kind of downloaded to the computer, so we can just see how that looks right there. And that is a pretty good looking image of an elven maiden, I think. So the image tester basically allows you to test out your prompts, test out the image quality and potential with the different image generators that each one of these providers offers. But really what I want to show you all is the image chaining. That's what I'm excited to show you. Where within the Google Sheets, it will actually chain images using the first image as a reference image to kind of create like a story within the Google Sheet. Sometimes it does take a little time. You just got to be patient with it, family. And once again, in order to make everything ready for you to interact with it, you got to make sure you populate the providers first. Make sure that you don't click anywhere here where it needs to populate. You just stay out of there. Should populate the providers, right? And then you want to make sure you load the models. Now, for the storyboard you want, it says the AI will create steps 1 to 10 and write step prompts into a new row. Step 1 becomes the base prompt in column A. This uses text AI models. So basically, the model that we selected for this example, which is OpenAI GPT Mini 5, is what's going to actually create this. And of course, here we can choose the provider. Actually, we can choose the provider here that we want. But maybe I'll go with Claude this time for the text provider because we like how Claude is very creative. And we do have access to Haiku and Sonnet, Opus. I feel like Opus is a little overpowered. We can go with Sonnet. The style we can go with. We'll leave it with none. We'll go with wide. And we want to describe our storyboard. So they do have an example here. Just give me 1 second while I think of something for a storyboard. And then I'll get right back to you, family. All right, fam. So we have our storyboard, a female adventurer. We want to make sure we keep continuity of the character and the colors. We're going to keep everything the same. We're going to use Claude Sonnet 4.5. We're going to go with Key for this one. It seems like the models aren't here. So you want to load the models before we generate the storyboard. And of course, we want to use chain controls to ensure that everything is good to go. And we're gonna go ahead. We seen C Dream did pretty good, and C Dream is pretty affordable. But we're gonna go ahead and go with Nano Banana on this one. We're gonna make sure we use look back. Gonna go with wide, high detail, very strong. And we're gonna go ahead and generate the storyboard steps. We'll just make sure that stays out of there. We'll select that. It's gonna go ahead and do its thing. And of course, when you use the look back and use the prior image, the model lists are restricted to image look back capability models, which should be Nano Banana should fall into that category, but we'll see. We're going to generate the storyboard using Claude, straight from Anthropic this time, so there's no issues. And we'll tap back in once it's complete instead of just having you here, just sitting here waiting for SheetWiz to do its thing. Okay, family, before I boot it up, I just want to show you everything that Claude did. So Claude pretty much, it tapped into Claude API and then actually a couple of prompts, same scenario, just different wording. Our female adventurer in an ancient ruin, and we gonna tap it with Nano Banana. But you also notice with the AI auto chaining, or rather the chain controls, you can see that our image generator selection has decreased significantly with Key to Nano Banana and Nano Banana Pro, Flux 2, and Grok Imagine and Quinn. So let me make sure I put Pro and not the V1. We want the V2 for consistency because it's one of the best. But I hear Grok Imagine is pretty good as well. So we want to make sure everything is set to Pro. You have to individually select each provider, right? You select each provider for each step. So you can actually mix up different image generators for your image chaining. As long as the image generator is capable of chaining, looking back to a reference image, you can use it and it'll go ahead and do that for you. But now that everything is already set to go, we've set everything across for 7 and 8 steps. We're going to go ahead and run those chains, and I'll tap back in with you once everything is complete. All right, family, I just want you to see that the current status is complete, and we actually did the same images twice. One was actually 8 steps, and we use Key for each one of them. We use Key twice. Same prompt, or rather the same, yeah, same storyboard, different prompt, but really it kind of captured our female adventurer in different, the same scenario, just she looks a little bit different. I do want to blow these up so I can show you them individually about how it works with Key. Even though we have a link here, what actually happens is that it downloads to the computer. So I do want to change it so that it opens up in Atlas, so we don't have to slide the screen. So I'll do that and I'll show you how these images came out. All right, family. So what I did was I just downloaded each image and I put it in a Google Sheet so we could just see how it all came out. Because with Key, at least for me, you do get the link, the temporary file. So I downloaded it to the computer, and here's how they kind of came out. So you can see the image. Now, one thing to note, You see I download all the images there. These are low resolution, not like super duper 2K, 4K, or anything like that. But the everything in that aspect was set to auto. You can see for the most part the character was consistent until it got to here, and then for the last three images, this was the character that it remained consistent with. And then this was the second take. You can see our main character here, looking consistent here, looking consistent here, and here, and here once again, and here once again, and once again. So that is the prompt chaining feature. And I think definitely if you want more details, you will put high detail just for balance and just for high quality images. But you can see here, you can use the AI here to come up with everything. But if you already have an idea of your prompt and how you want it, you can see right here, this is just what you need to ensure that the AI does automatically for you, right? Because it's the initial prompt, and then here's the initial image that you would use right here. And then you see the key here is making sure it's continuity, right? Continuity. So it looks back. See right here, it looks back, even though right here it did look back, but the character did change a bit, but it's looking back to try to keep some consistency with the character. Sometimes it's hit or miss, but more often than not, it'll get it right. And this is good if you want to just create content, create little stories. You could use the image chaining to do that. Take these images, put them in something like VO, something like Cling. Because you already have your story here from beginning and end. So that is the image chaining. And now the next tool I want to test out is the video tester. Then we'll go video chaining. Then what I really want to get into is the music and voice. So let's go ahead and get with the video. And we'll see what that's looking like. Now, I believe with the video, it's also going to be key that does it. I believe Strico has the ability to do video. And you can see right here, it's going to check for you which one is capable of doing it in terms of the API. You can see right now it's idle. The first thing you want to do is you want to populate the providers. It actually gets instructions. It actually gives you instructions right here. And with Strico, Sean did notice this, and he did put it in the Facebook group that the video cost is high with Strico, as high as 8,000 coins for 4 seconds. So use Runway for low cost option. Now with me, I have a lot of coins with Strico, but Strico does limit you to about 50,000 coins per day. And because I have Strico running in the background doing some other things, I probably wouldn't use it because 8,000 coins for 4 seconds is pretty high. I don't want to run through my daily limit and have other things I'm using the API for not work, because I use Strico for Pismo when I'm optimizing my prompts or writing, because I use Claude a lot. Whether it's Sonnet or whether it's Opus, I use that through Strico. So I won't use Strico here, but we do have Runway, and I do want to give Key a break because Key is what I'm going to use for the music and 11 Labs. So we have the providers populated. I think I could do one test though, but for the chaining, I'm going to go with actually I'm gonna go with runway. So we'll click over here. And I don't know if I told you, but you can export everything, like everything that we've done today, the images, the image chain, and everything you can export, and it's going to automatically create it for you if you have Google Drive. So if you're not tapped in with Google Drive, definitely recommend you do that. But if you don't have Google Drive, you can still download the images to your computer and then store it on your computer or wherever it is that you want to store your actual content. So once everything's set up, I'll tap back in with you and then we'll begin the testing for each model. Okay, family. So one thing to note, they definitely have the instructions right here. You can see we're using Runway, Strico, and Key, Google VO, Fast. Even though Runway has a whole bunch of different models, we're just gonna go with VO. Strico has the limited amount, but we're gonna just go with Kling. And Key also has a whole bunch, but we're gonna go with Grok Imagine text to video, and we're gonna do 5 seconds on that. So testing out Grok, VO, and an older version of Kling. Here's our JSON prompt. 3 tests. We're gonna do it tall. Actually, let's do it wide. We'll keep it 720p just to save on the API. And we're gonna go ahead and start the test. Let's make sure we're over here. We'll start those tests and we'll tap back in once that's finished. Okay, fans, so we did get some errors here. It could be because of the prompt, or it could be because of something we did up here. Duration. So I may simplify the prompt because the durations here is pulled directly from the API for each. In fact, that was the only thing that was actually an option for each of these besides the frames per second. So I'm going to go ahead and try it again and maybe simplify the prompt. All right, family. So the issue was I actually had a letter here in the input image, so that's why it didn't work the first couple of times. But for this example, we tested out Sora 2. VO2 apparently it didn't work with Strico, so that's fine. And then with Key, we did Bike Dance V1. You can see the times here, 4 seconds and 5 seconds. So let's take a look at this is Sora. And this is Bike Dance. So no audio there on Bike Dance. So once again, the tester is just to test out the capabilities of each of the video generators. And then you get into the meat and potatoes of the video chain, and when you actually want to create something pretty unique. Well, they're all pretty unique. Or if you want to create something with some consistency. So I'm gonna run through everything once again, and then always, Sean, he provides the instructions right here for text to video, the quick guide right here. So I'm gonna run through all of this, and I'm gonna make a video, and then I'll tap back in with you once everything is actually complete. We're gonna just populate everything, load the models, load the steps, things we've been doing all video long. and I don't want to keep it here just looking and waiting on things. So I'll tap back in once it's complete, family. Simple. All right, family. Sorry about that. So I did do a couple of videos, well, a couple of video trainings. So you can see here, I actually made some changes. I'm running Runway and I'm using C Dance version 1.0 Pro, the fast version, and we're doing 8 steps. I did do 2 videos just as a test. So the first ones actually we could take a look at them. The story is coherent, right? We'll just bring this up. Can we bring this? Do want to bring this up a little bit? Well, we don't want that. But the story is coherent in the prompts. And one thing, just to get your when you put your prompts or your information in these boxes, if you want them to show up like this instead of spread all across, you know how Google Sheets is, you would hit this button right here and then hit this button to wrap it, and then you see the text is nice and it's wrapped. So that's just something that I learned doing that. We'll just hit it. So it's already wrapped. But we could take a look at the actual videos that we did. You can see got the links. So with Seed Dream, there's actually, well, Seed Dance rather, not Seed Dream. There's no sound. So you can see that the story is consistent. It's just that it didn't chain it back properly. Because in this one was just straight prompting. These are just prompts. And in the second ones I'm going to show you is videos. So these are just prompts because you can actually, and it shows you right here, you can text the video or image the video, which is what I did here for more consistency. And they do have the reference guide here. I just wanted to show you a little bit of what I did with the text to video. So it is a fairly capable video generator. It's cheaper than VO, but I would argue that the consistency is just not there in terms of the character. But I think it has more so to do with it not using reference images rather than it actually being a problem with the image generator. And then the last one here. So 8 steps. And that was our video. And that was just text to video. So it's no images required. But so you can make your videos and everything here. We did see that in the video tester. In the video chain, and we see that it can keep things coherent in terms of the story, because the story was relatively the same. What wasn't the same actually was the characters. But you could see here, I took some images. If we go back to image chaining, I actually did a whole another story. You see, I did these two stories that we covered. And I did a whole different story using Runway. And then I took those individual links. Let's see if we can. Took those individual links for the story from Runway. I copied them over and I brought them into video chaining. And I put them into the steps. So we can go ahead and take a look and see how these videos came out. We also tapped in with CDANS 1.0 Pro Fast. So that is the first URL. And step 2. Could go ahead, see what that looks like. So you can see when it has reference images, the video chain works quite well when you use reference images. So that's the reference image I mistakenly clicked on. The URL, here's what we're looking for. So the better quality your images, and you could use any images here. It doesn't need to be anything you created in image chaining. It just needs to be something that has an actual link that it can go to, and it'll work. It'll create that chain video based off of that, and we put everything into the storyboard and use OpenAI to actually provide the storyboard, which is these prompts right here with the information I put in Genspark. It's taking a little bit of time there. Okay. So I would say with the images that we provided it in actually the image chaining, it kept everything fairly consistent. You can see it did its best right there. These are all the images from the image chaining that I took and I put it into the video chaining to go ahead and make that video. So really, any images is going to work in the video chaining. Any images will work for image chaining. As long as you put your image in the first step and use that as a reference image, and then it just builds from there, and you can build your storyboard using the AI auto chaining. So that is the video chaining. I think it's also a great tool to have here along with the image chaining. And you have the image tester and you have the video tester. These are great tools right here that you can use to build out your content and get your characters and get your scenes and your storyboards built out, keep them consistent. But once again, it's all going to be dependent on the images that you use in terms of the image generators and, of course, the video generators. And you can see with models like, or services like Runway, Straco, and Key, you have a ton of different sources that you can choose from. Now, the actual tool I wanted to show, because I'm excited about, was the music creator. If we could just go over to that, you can see I already have the music builder here, right? And pretty much you could just generate songs. You could choose if you want something to be an instrumental. You could choose the gender. Let's just say we want male. Let's just say we want. Let's think of something, and we'll have this filled out. Okay, you can see it has like looks like Suno-like functionality. I put a prompt here, a title, style, custom mode, nothing really, not instrumental. For vocal gender, we put M for male. You can see here they have V5, V45 plus, V5, V45, V45 all, and V4. We're just going to go with V5. So it says here we can validate prompt lengths. So it shows the prompt limit here and the model selected. So let's go ahead and validate the prompt length. And it shows right here, all prompts fit the selected models. Custom mode limit, 5,000 characters. Non-custom limit, 500. Okay. So I think we're good to go. We could go ahead and hit start. If you notice, I'm just leaving everything generally blank here. And we'll let it do its own thing. And if you're wondering the API that's used to actually produce this content here, there'll definitely be a link in the description below for key.ai, which has a ton of different APIs to use. And the next one we're actually going to test out after the music is the voice creator. Literally, SheetWiz could be your hub for creating content, whether it's images, whether it's videos, whether it's music, whether it's voice. You can literally do everything now in a Google Sheet. All you need is the proper APIs, key.ai, runware, and of course, if you want to use Claude or Open or ChatGPT, Gemini, you can use those as well, and Strico for creating your text content. So right now it is running. We're just waiting for it to do its thing. And then we want to hear how it actually sounds. So instead of just keeping you here waiting for it to finish running, I'm going to pause the video and then we'll tap back in once it's finished and actually listen to what it actually produced. All right, family, so let's hear how it sounds. So you can see it actually downloaded. So I'm actually going to have to pull it up in, I don't want to pull it up in iTunes. I want to see if I can play it in the browser. So give me 1 second, family. All right, family, we got the file here. Let's hear how it sounds. Badge on my belt loop, coffee stain on my sleeve. Same old spreadsheet, same old let's touch base speak. Fluorescence hum above me, name tag taped to my chest. But there's a bag by my desk and ticket west. Got my out of office drafted, 1 click and
I'm gone, I'm gone. Hear that second hand tapping, it's almost done. I'm clocking out for good tonight. Throw my tie in the backseat, watch it fly. All my worries in the rearview light. Bye bye deadlines, hello sky. I'm stepping out of that revolving door.
So that's actually how it sounds. And you see here, we actually get two. So we get two versions. So maybe, oh, that link just kind of just disappeared. I wonder what just happened. You had a link here, and then the link just kind of just disappeared. So that was just weird. But it's supposed to put out two links, I believe. But once again, you're able to create music here, and you have complete control over your customization as long as you stay within the actual limits, the 500 characters for normal and 5,000 characters, I believe, for custom mode. You can put everything from the prompt, the title, the style, if you want it to be custom or not, if you want it to be instrumental, if you want there to be vocal genders, style, weirdness, audio. So pretty much kind of like Suno. You're using API for this, which is key.ai. And once again, you can export your music URLs. You can download the music as you wish. So the next feature I want to show you before I wrap this video up, because we're going about an hour long, is the actual voice creator. We'll just let that run. And pretty much here, I believe, using key.api, you have access to a range of these voices here. And you would just, sorry, I apologize for the barking family. Son's always bothering the dog. So we do have parent speech. So let's see what we want to say. SheetWiz is an awesome tool for creating content. You can do everything from images, videos, to music, to even prompt builders and creation using SheetWiz. Definitely recommend you check it out today. And it definitely did not carry over here. Let's try again. SheetWiz is an amazing tool for content creation. Everything from videos to images to music. You can do it all in SheetWiz, including voiceovers. Definitely recommend you check it out today. Okay. So it worked there. So we have it there. And you can see we can adjust the stability, similarity, style, the speed. We can go ahead and validate the prompt. So you have a 5,000 character limit, and it actually gives you instructions here. So creates the voice creator, creates the voice creator with the init sheet, fills rows to add prompts, and run. The output column shows the K tasks from 11 labs. So let's go ahead and start the voice creator. Only thing you can't really do here is you can't exactly sample how the voice sounds, but if you have any tool that has 11 labs with the voice example to preview the sound, definitely recommend you check that out before you use your API to tap into that. And we can go ahead and start the voice creator. and it's going to use 11 Labs text to speech, and is running right now, and we'll tap back in once it's done. All right, family. So we got it pulled up here. You can see it pulled up here. We downloaded it. So let's go ahead and tap in with it.
SheetWiz is an amazing tool for content creation. Everything from videos to images to music. You can do it all in SheetWiz, including voiceovers. Definitely recommend you check it out today.
So that's the voice of Charlie. And before we wrap this video up, family, you know I gotta take you over to Key.ai. We're actually in the back, and I gotta be transparent with you and show you. This video has been a few days in the making. Right? Started on the first. You can see I used about $1.50, 53, and today about 15 more cents. Probably refresh it. So yeah. You can see here, it shows exactly what you use. And of course, I have a couple of tools here. This is the API key just been using specifically for SheetWiz. And you can see keeping everything here. So pretty affordable in terms of using the API with Key.ai. There'll be a link in the description below and pin comment if you want to check them out. And of course, we're over here with Runware. I put about $20 in here. So you can see here, right, about 32 use cases. So you can see here, everything that I've done using Runware is here, and it shows the pricing exactly. And you can see using ByteDance is relatively affordable. We're talking about 6 or 7 cents an image, where with Google it's costing you about 13 cents, 14 cents. So it's good to have options in terms of video, in terms of actual image. Runway and Key.ai gives you that. But I think that's going to do it for this video. So let me bring it actually back over to SheetWiz. So do I recommend this tool? I definitely recommend this tool. I didn't cover everything in this tool. There's a few things I didn't cover, like the prompt builder. You can build your own prompts here. I may do another video on SheetWiz. It is probably one of my top recommended tools in terms of being able to create content, and not just content. You can literally do just about anything with SheetWiz. So I definitely recommend you check it out. Shout out Sean Altman. I'm gonna do another video on a couple of his products, Vibe Sheet and Sheet. So look out for those in the future. But definitely make sure you check out SheetWiz. There'll be links in the description and pinned comment below for you to check it out. But with that being said, I'm ending the video right here. This is Brian, the introverted marketer, and it ain't hard to tell. It's simple. I'm gonna catch y'all in the next video, family. Peace.